You ever gone to the grocery store to like make potato salad for a barbecue and you like grab the potatoes, green onions, pickles, a little mustard, and then you leave and you're like, dang it, I forgot the mayonnaise. Well, just like going to the grocery store, sometimes you can leave your NFL draft, your fantasy draft, without the mayonnaise. That's why we're here. We got a special guest who's hosting a special event, and we'll tell you what mayonnaise to not leave your draft with. Producer! Welcome to the Fantasy Forecast with Grindberg and Bigz. He is Grindberg, I am Bigz, right here on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network. I'd like to begin today's show with a shout out to a new subscriber. His name is John. He is erstwhile from Green Bay. Now he is a teacher at my old junior high school, Emerson Junior High. Shout out, go Eagles, Eagles for life. And met him at the doggy daycare today when I was grabbing Murdoch to come and he played. I said, "You play fantasy football?" And he said, "Not very well." I said, "Watch our show." So. What's up, John?
Hey, John.
There's a storm brewing, and it's fueled by heart strategy and sleeper picks. In this episode of the Fantasy Forecast, we're tracking a major front of impact, the Napkin League. It's a fantasy football tournament rooted in community competition and charitable giving. I know for a fact because I've given. I'm in 2 leagues, and it's very charitable and giving. And our special guest from FSAN joins us under the spotlight to share how the league was founded, what makes it unique, and how you join the movement this season. Should we bring him in?
Let's bring him in.
Let's bring in GOYAADi.
My finger got a little happy there, but let's do it anyway.
GOYAADi, what is up?
Oh, I like that. Thank you for putting me on that. I feel extra cool today, so thank you for making me feel special.
Yeah, so Mike, what are we doing here?
Well, we're talking about a special league that, GOYAADi here founded, and he's brought it over to FSAN. So now we're taking it under our wing, but he's founded it. He is leading the charge, and we're lucky to have him on our team. And I met him firsthand at the expo this year. We exchanged, some pleasantries. We had a great time Friday night, Saturday night, and so I invited him on the show to hang out with us and talk about what he's founded and what we could do to help him do more here. GOYAADi, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're all about.
Yeah, let me know how deep you want to get. I've been in the fantasy space for about 10 years. I commissioned a 100-league tournament, which you mentioned, called the Napkin. And I kind of consider myself a best ball bro now. I think that's where my bread and butter is.
Gotcha.
So let me get this straight, Mike. While I was bedridden, you had a surrogate best friend.
I was trying to make friends, man.
No, I got to hang out with Yachty too at the poker tournament. That's how he told me about the Napkin League, and I was like, yeah, another tournament for D-Gens. I'm in. I'm only in like 35 or 40 already. Yeah. So what's another one? And then he was like, hey, you want another one? And I said, yeah, sure. So now I'm in 2, and the drafts are going great. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's okay. You're not an official D-Gen until you have 2 pages of leagues on Sleeper. With, if you're unfamiliar, after 100 leagues, they give you a second page. So you actually have to click the drop down and move to the rest of your leagues. So you're still doing fine, I promise.
That's incredible, man. Well, you've obviously been part of the fantasy football space for a while now, and now you've been joining us on FSAN. For those who may not know you yet, tell us a little bit about your journey in the fantasy football space. What got you, lined up on the content side of things?
Yeah, I think it all started once upon a time, right? You just write home league draft recaps, make fun of all your friends. I used to put myself in first place and then just talk smack to every other member of the league. From there, three of us formed the 8-Bit Fantasy Football Podcast. Lasted about 3 years before we all had kids, and I don't know if you know how that works, but suddenly your time is spoken for. So just kind of became a best ball bro and turned one of my home leagues into a 100 league tournament. So have a lot of data to work with, and it's been quite the ride.
That's fantastic. Yeah, kids, once they grow out of that and get out of the house, it frees up a little bit of time.
A little bit.
Sweet. Got a question, Bigz?
Do I?
Okay, well, now let's talk about the Napkin League. It's just not another just a tournament. Walk us through how you started it, the story behind the name, and what makes it different from any other league out there.
Oh man, I think it's the best tournament out there. Actually, how it all started, I had a workout buddy. I also run a fitness company. I'm a personal trainer, and we used to work out about 5:30 every morning, and suddenly just kind of stopped showing up. And I was like, "Hey man, what's going on?" And he's like, "My wife has cancer," and I kind of understood. And then a few weeks later, he's like, "Hey, my wife is dealing with this. It's kind of been tough. She hasn't been able to get out and socialize. Would you be able to put on, a fantasy football league for us?" And I was like, "Oh, of course. That's my favorite thing." So anyway, I got this set up. We just made it a fun league, lots of points, made high scoring. That way it was exciting every week. We made short benches, so there would always be someone you could pick up if you didn't have a good team. And so that was fun for a few seasons. She recovered, and suddenly I had this fantasy league where some of the folks weren't as interested when it was just kind of more for fun instead of let's keep it a friend group. So I was like, what's next? I talked to a friend. First thing he said to me when I was like, what charity should I put this toward? He was like, Mission 22, and I was like, okay, I haven't heard of that. So I was actually at a family reunion not long after that. Talked to one of my cousins in the service, and the first thing he said was Mission 22. So I was like, okay, I need to look into this just to understand more. And the work that they do is just incredible. So that's why we've kind of moved this from one league to 22 leagues, now 100 leagues, trying to raise money to support Mission 22 and the work they do for our veterans.
What is Mission 22?
Mission 22 is a nonprofit organization mainly focused on suicide prevention. So TBI, traumatic brain injuries, PTSD, helps veterans with support services for those things to try to help them get through it.
That's fantastic.
Love it. Well, let's talk about the scoring format, because you know what I mean? Like, a lot of people, when they get into new leagues and they're joining a new format, and we want your Napkin League to grow, how does the scoring work? Can you break down how the Napkin League is set up, the rules, and the scoring perspective?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. It has a long acronym, so work with me. It's PPR first off. It's also point per first down, which is PPFD. And then we also have big play scoring. They all have stackable bonuses on those big plays. So 40 plus yards is 3 points, 40 plus and a touchdown is an extra 4. And then if you go for 50 yards and a touch, it's 5 points. So possible to have 12 bonus points on a single play. And if you throw a 95-yard touchdown and you have both the QB and the wide receiver on your team, that is 50 points on a single play. We call that the 50 burger.
The 50 burger. And then I noticed something in the chat today you put out there is like somebody that gets, projected over 200 points is part of the 200 club. Explain that a little bit to us.
Yeah, so about 1 in 12 teams will get 200 points on any given week, just the way the scoring system is. So to kind of celebrate that and have some fun with it, we created the 200 club. So in the preseason, we look at our projections and, we roster bait and whatever. But if you're in the 200 club in the preseason, you have a week 1 projection of over 200. If you have the highest one, you win our little silver tiki.
Nice. And Bigz has got 1 and 2 lined up, right? He's got two teams. You've got over 200 points projected in both, I'd assume.
Well, neither of the leagues are finished drafting. In fact, the one league, the second league that I'm in, is only in round 2. So it's moving along pretty slowly. But yeah, the first one looks good. I had the 101, so of course I went Chase Kamara. He's going to put up some pretty big plays. DK Metcalf as well. So I'm looking at some big play guys.
Love it. I love it. Now, Bigz, let's talk a little bit about our merch shop. And, you've obviously been shopping there. You want to tell our viewers a little bit what we have going on at FSAN and anything new on the horizon here?
Yeah, go to your Google machine, type in FSAN merch or Fantasy Sports Advice Network merch. Go to the merch store. There's a ton of stuff. Some of it is team related, like our famous Tiers logo, which is the Bears logo, but the B is replaced by the T. Fantasy Football Advice Network stuff. We got Fantasy Forecast stuff in there, Dynasty Pulse stuff in there. And hey, if you like saving money, use Forecast15 as a code, and you'll save 15% off all your orders.
I love it. Yeah, thanks for adding that code in there, folks. 15% off. Look at the hat I have here. You can get this exact hat there for 15% off now. Looking forward to that. Thank you for all the hard work with Amber putting on the merch shop. She's done a great job getting everything up and running, and now it is going full force here. So let's get into some of our hot takes here.
Yes,
let's
please.
get into the meat and potatoes of this show now that we talked a little bit about the Napkin League and how it's ran. Now let's talk about some deep value plays, guys you're targeting later on in the draft, say round 10 and beyond, because you mentioned this being a very shallow league there, GOYAADi. So, I mean, we're looking at, late round 10 for this type of league. I think this is kind of like the sweet spot here. So, let's get started here, and maybe you can give us your number 2 guy. So we're each going to give 2 guys that we're looking to target and leaving most of these drafts late with, if we can get 1 or 2 of them. So who's your guy here, GOYAADi?
Yeah, my guy is Rashid Shaheed out of New Orleans. Last year, I really had him pegged as a breakout, and he was on his way. He had 350 yards, 3 touchdowns in, call it 5.9 games. That's a pace for 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns. If he can repeat that, that pace for the entire 17 weeks, I think he'll get there. And you might say, Derek Carr, he's not there anymore. Now they have Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shuck. I understand that, but Derek Carr wasn't exactly great shakes outside of the first 2 weeks of the season last year. So with Kellen Moore coming in from the Eagles, I have some confidence that the offense will at least be functional, regardless of which QB is there. I like Shaheed because he's also a big play guy. So in my scoring system, I love those stackable bonuses. I don't want to get 6.1 points or 7.1 points for a 1-yard touchdown. I want big play bonuses. I want that 50+ yard bomb. And Shuck's got an arm. He's 38 now, but he's got a few more years left in this league.
What are your thoughts on that, Bigz? Are you a Shaheed guy this year? Are you into Rashid Shaheed? I mean, last year I think we were both pretty high on him.
Yeah, I'm always into Rashid Shaheed, and I'm just hoping and praying that he finishes a 17-game season. He is a big play waiting to happen, and he's done that regardless of the quarterback in New Orleans. Whoever it's been, that's his MO. So yeah, Rashid Shaheed, draft him.
I guess let me ask you guys, which QB would you prefer?
Shuck.
New Orleans, Shuck.
Shuck, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Especially if you're talking about throwing the ball deep. Don't have a lot of faith in Spencer Rattler in the first place, and I got to watch Shuck throw the ball at the Senior Bowl, and kid's got a big arm, so that plays right into Shaheed's hands.
All right, Bigz, what do you got as a late round gem that you're looking to target, post round 10?
So the first late round gem that I'm going to talk about is DeAndre Hopkins. Now, we might be kind of remiss to draft a 33-year-old in fantasy, but if we look back just in 2023, he had over 1,000 yards that season. And not only that, but he was 12th in red zone targets and 2nd in deep ball targets. He had a 41.6% air yard share, which was number 5 in the league. So the dude has it, and he's with a new team, Baltimore. Baltimore traditionally is a closer to the line of scrimmage team. They got Derrick Henry running the ball. They got Lamar Jackson running the ball, throwing the ball a little bit. Mark Andrews working underneath. And they haven't really had a big, deep threat since Hollywood Brown was there. Now Lamar has a guy that if he rolls out in the pocket and he's got DeAndre Hopkins running a deep post or something like that, I think the two of them are going to hook up for quite a bit this year. A lot of hype on Rashad Bateman and his finish last year, but I think Hopkins still has something left in the tank, and so I'm definitely he's my mayonnaise. I'm not leaving the grocery store without him.
Yeah, that's and that's deep pockets, and that's a guy that, if he's got a resurgence, what he could do, even if he's like 60% of what he used to be, I think that's still a huge value in these types of rounds where, the mayo gets thicker, and that's where your sweet spot is. All right, let's get into my guy. And, he's getting a lot of buzz right now. And it's somebody that we're going to have to talk about because he's steaming up. And, he's still a late round guy. And I'm talking about Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. He's steaming up in camp. And it's this time of year, our drafts are hitting up. And some people are really trading some big stuff for him. But it's probably already too late. But in 2025, he may be a guy that you should be targeting late. Former Shrine Bowl standout. He is a 7th round pick, but he's had impressive camp. He's climbing up the Commanders depth chart, and he's generating a lot of buzz as a potential breakout, especially with Brian Robinson Jr. trade rumors. They're swirling right now. He is a backup at this stage, but if Brian Robinson gets moved, he's going to be catapulted right into a potential starter role. Maybe a 50-50 split, but, this is a perfect situation for a young guy with some juice here. He's got some downhill running, explosiveness. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's making a case for early down hammer. He's steaming up the draft boards, and I just love what I see here. He's got a top 20 in elusive rating at New Mexico in 2023. So he's shown that, he can miss tackles at a good, highly rate. So I'm liking this situation. And if he's still in there around round 10, I think that's a really good spot for him, taking a shot while Brian Robinson is still on the team.
Yeah, there you go. I'm trying to hold on to my Brian Robinson shares and not believe the Bill Krosky-Merritt hype, just because I don't want it to torpedo all my Brian Robinson shares. Because I've been really liking drafting Brian Robinson at his value, but apparently Bill CM is coming on pretty strong. So time to hedge some bets and go out there and grab him.
Just get I'm not going to reach. I'm not going to pay an astronomical price. I saw him go in a dynasty for round 2, 2026 straight up. I think that's still a pretty hefty price to be paying for somebody that is, pretty still down the depth chart when you look at it at this stage. But he's worth a depth pick, a dart throw at this stage in redraft, especially if he's looming around 10. What are your thoughts, GOYAADi, on him?
I love hearing you say this. I have a 40% exposure to Bill in the 20th round in best ball. So I love seeing his price just go up and up and up. And I agree with everything you said. He was a great player in 2023. He ran into some weird eligibility issue that, robbed him of a chance. And his draft capital, went straight down into the toilet, which is a bonus for us. I couldn't agree more. I think he's going to have a huge season. I think he's got that explosiveness and the shimmy. So I'm excited to see it.
That's awesome. All right, let's hear from our.
I just had him go in the 6th round in a tournament league, and I was like, that's a little bit much. But 20th round in best ball, bang 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 bang
bang bang bang. Exactly. Like I said, we're not paying a premium for him because he's still unproven. But if he's sitting around 10 or later, he's definitely worth a dart throw. So let's hear what's going on at the FSAN headquarters.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
Do that.
All
right, let's get into our spotlights, and we'll start with GOYAADi's. Let's rip it.
I'm going to put this spotlight on Jaden Blue of the Dallas Cowboys. Similar to Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, just a guy that I've been high on since the beginning. Alleged 4.28 at a pro day. I don't know. I'm going to check my notes. That's insanely fast. His former coach is Tashard Choice, so he didn't have a lot of touches in college. What would lead the Cowboys to spend a 4th-round draft pick on this guy? Perhaps Tashard Choice feeding Jerry some information. He had 14 touchdowns last year. I think that is going to translate well, especially if the Cowboys line can get some semblance of health. I'm going to root on speed. If he really ran a 4.28, and I've heard it's a 4.25 from a few sources, he's going to make it in the NFL.
Definitely one to watch. The Cowboys are such a garbage organization at this point. It's hard to, beyond Dak and the 2 big wide receivers, it's hard to kind of rely on anybody. But, yeah, take a stab. Jaden Blue late is a good pick.
For sure, because you never know in these ambiguous backfields where, who knows what's really leading the charge at this stage, and a guy like that this late could potentially be leading the backfield at some point this season. So it's worth the shot there. Now, Bigz, I want to hear about your guy. I saw you put him on the sheet, and I'm anxious to hear about that quarterback situation there and how you think it ties into your guy. So let's rip it.
All right. Well, if there's anything that you know about me, Mike, you know that I'm a cheater. I originally did have Theo Johnson in my spotlight based on the big play that he had in the preseason game. And I think he and Jackson Dart are developing a pretty good connection. Plus, we know Russ Wilson throws a good deep ball. But I'm changing my answer because that's how I do. I'm at a point right now where I am in one of the later rounds. I think I'm actually in round 10 in the Napkin League number 57, and I don't have a quarterback yet. There's still a ton of quarterbacks on the board because it is a single quarterback scoring system. But the one I'm going to be tapping with my next pick, I'm the 101, so I got the double tap, and I'm going to be grabbing Geno Smith. Geno Smith is in a situation where he and Trey Tucker and Dante Thornton have been absolutely on fire in training camp with Geno Smith and his ability to throw the deep ball. You add to that Brock Bowers and his ability with Yak, and suddenly you got a quarterback who is probably going to throw for a ton of yards this year simply based on the personnel that he's got on that team. Now, what happens if Geno Smith goes down? Well, there is a long list of quarterbacks in 2024 in the 2024 season that Aiden O'Connell outthrew. He had more throwing yards than Josh Allen, Bo Nix, a whole bunch of guys, and it's a very long list. You can find it on Twitter. And so if Aiden O'Connell has to step in, I have no doubt that he's going to continue to throw to the receivers that I have in this Napkin League and stack up the big plays too. So Geno Smith is my guy. I'm going to pair him with a couple of really, really deep threats, and we'll see where this takes us.
I mean, it's a safe pick, and, he's in an offense led by his former head coach. So, it's going to be very familiar with him, with some pretty elite talent when you think about it. And you bring in Ashton Genty. You didn't really mention much there about him. And you're adding a force here that could be leading them into a lot more scoring opportunities here too. So I don't mind that call. It's a safe play, and he's got a decent floor. And then maybe a ceiling that we haven't really seen in quite some time from Gino. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that shakes out there in Oakland, in Las Vegas, because both these guys are going top value, Genty and Bowers. So in order for them to really succeed at that type of level, you're going to need to pair them up with Gino. So if we want Bowers and Genty to excel, I think Gino has to reap some of those benefits as well. So
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into my guy. Now, I just think that the redraft market just hasn't really caught up to where people are drafting him in Dynasty. And right now, I'm putting a quarterback just like Bigz did in this range. He's going at pick 120-ish, which is right on the verge here of the 10th round for people. And I'm talking about Drake May. And if you're going to wait on quarterback, this is a great year to do it. Like Bigz mentioned with his pick, well, you got a guy in the 10th round with the upside that Drake May has. And, after taking over week 6 last year as a rookie, he delivered a remarkably consistent fantasy floor, finishing in the QB 12 to QB 18 range almost every week. And he played full snaps. Now with the new coaching staff, way better weapons, a cleaner offensive line. He's primed to make a major leap, and it starts with his legs. I've got him projected for over 700 rushing yards this year. That's elite dual threat production. That alone is going to put him in the top 10 range in 2025. And, look at last year. He averaged over 31 rushing yards per game on scrambles. Add in Tre'Veon Henderson, the explosive rookie running back who's pretty much a cheat code in the pass catching role. I see him getting, upwards of 65 catches this year based off of the McDaniels pedigree. We've seen what he did in years past with his running backs, and I'm looking forward to seeing this duo hit on full stride. He's a top 2 in scramble yards per game. He's high-end short accuracy, and that's going to bode well for a dump off to Henderson. So I see these two becoming good. Bring in that, I'm hearing good reports from Stephon Diggs coming out of camp, and then you got Kyle Williams coming in and having an opportunity there. And you can't discount the fact that Hunter Henry is a reliable tight end. So I like this situation here for Drake May to come in and, he could carry your team as a late quarterback, and you don't need to worry too much at the position if you got Drake May in round 10, in my opinion.
Yeah, I love Drake May. I've loved him since he came into the league. Anybody who's been watching this show since the 2024 draft season knows that Drake May is Josh Allen light, and grab him.
Grab him where you can. Now, what else do we got to grab here? We'll pretty much covered all our guys. We covered the Napkin League. GOYAADi. Before you get out of here, tell everyone where they can find your work, and more importantly, how they can sign up for the Napkin League and support this cause.
Yeah, you can find my stuff on FSAN. Obviously, the name is GOYAADi, GOY, 2 A's, 1 D, and an I at the end. For the Napkin League, if you go to FSAN.com, go to the very top of the page, you'll see the Napkin League and the Jersey Leagues right at the top. Click the Napkin League. That'll be the one on the left. And all you need to do is donate $5 to Mission 22. There is a donation link at the bottom of that page after you see all the rules. All you do is fill that out, put your sleeper name in, and I will send you an invite personally.
Yeah, do that now. Also, he mentioned our Jersey Leagues. The Fantasy Sports Advice Network Jersey Leagues are open. If you're a pro member, you qualify. Pretty similar thing. Just tell us who you are on Sleeper and what jersey you want. I have the Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey, and you can come take it out of my cold, beaten hands. Other than that, go join the Napkin League. The drafts are pretty fun. There's a lot of activity in the comments and everything. Subscribe to this channel, hit the bell so you get updates when Fantasy Forecast is on, all that stuff. Don't forget to watch the Dynasty Pulse if you are in the Dynasty space. And that's about it. Other than that, we hope you win.
Hope you win, folks. Thanks, GOYAADi, for coming on with us. And we'll catch you all next week on the Fantasy Forecast. Peace out.